Indonesia and Malaysia, two nations bound by history, language, and blood. We pray to the same God. We eat the same food. We sing songs that sound like home, no matter which side of the sea you're on. But for many Indonesians, that shared past has begun to feel like a shadow, one where their identity is borrowed, their dignity overlooked. For every cultural celebration, there's a moment of silence, when a dance, a dish, a tradition is claimed by a neighbor, not as a gift, but as theirs alone. And for Malaysians, the frustration runs deep too. They say, "We are not trying to steal. Why do they hate us for being proud of what we share?" This isn't just about food or football or who did it first. This is about respect, about two nations side by side, struggling to be seen and heard. This is the truth Malaysians don't want to hear, and the truth many Indonesians are tired of repeating. Segment 1. Indonesia and Malaysia actually the same. Long before there were flags, passports, or borders, the people of this region traded stories, spices, and bloodlines. The kingdoms of Sriwijaya and Majapahit stretched across the waters that now separate us. What we call Indonesia and Malaysia today was once a single cultural flow. When colonizers drew lines across the map, they divided more than just land. They split communities, renamed identities, and rewrote history. What was once a shared language became contested. What was once mutual pride became rivalry. And even after independence, something lingered, a need to define who we are and who we are not. That need became nationalism, and nationalism became competition. In classrooms, in media, even in football stadiums, a quiet race to prove who owns what, who said it first, who stands taller. It's a rivalry rooted not just in politics, but in the very question of identity. Segment 2. Indonesia stole Malaysia culture? Ask an Indonesian what hurts most, and they won't say war. They'll say, being erased. Rendang, batik, wayang kulit, reog, cultural treasures passed down through generations. Suddenly showing up in Malaysian tourism ads, textbooks, even international competitions. Labeled not as shared, but as originally Malaysian. It's not just about credit, it's about dignity. About seeing your roots worn by someone else, while your name is left out of the story. Social media becomes a battlefield. Indonesians flood the comments. That's ours. Malaysians respond, we have it too. What's the problem? But it's not the same. For Indonesians, it feels like a neighbor borrowing your clothes and then telling the world they invented fashion. And yet, Malaysians aren't the villains in their own story. Many grew up believing these traditions were simply part of their culture too. The textbook said so. The festivals celebrated it. So who's right? Maybe the real problem is this. Colonization blurred our history so badly that now we're fighting over what was never meant to be divided. But the pain is real, and so is the pride. Segment 3. Migrant worker inequality. Every morning, thousands of Indonesians cross the sea to Malaysia. Not as tourists, not as guests, but as labor. They build homes they'll never live in. They clean floors in cities where their names are never known. They're the backbone of industries, plantations, construction sites, domestic service, but often treated as invisible. Reports of abuse, unpaid wages, overwork, stories too common to shock anyone anymore, and yet they stay silent, because speaking up could mean losing everything. To many Indonesians, Malaysia isn't just a neighbor, it's a place of survival, but that survival often comes at the cost of respect. And Malaysians? Most don't see this part, or they're told, that's just how the system works. But the resentment builds, quietly, deeply. Because how do you respect a country that benefits from your labor, but barely sees your humanity? This isn't just about work, it's about worth. And for many Indonesians, the message is clear. You're needed, but not valued. Segment 4. Political grandstanding and national pride. In politics, rivalry is currency. And Indonesia-Malaysia tensions? They've been used more than once. When elections draw near, when approval ratings slip, the old rivalry returns. Not always in speeches, but in tones, in headlines, in subtle jabs that stir old feelings. A slight from Malaysia? Suddenly it's front-page news in Jakarta. A protest in Jakarta, framed as anti-Malaysian extremism. It's not new, and it's not always real. But it works. Because in both countries, national pride runs deep, and politicians know that nothing unites or distracts like an outside other. In Indonesia, pride is rising fast. A new generation, louder, more confident, more assertive on the global stage. No longer content being the quiet neighbor. In Malaysia, there's pressure too, to lead, to hold regional influence, to maintain dignity in a rapidly shifting region. So the rivalry plays out not just between people, but between flags, speeches, and diplomatic smiles that don't quite reach the eyes. This isn't just politics, it's personal. Segment 5, Indonesia versus Malaysia. If you want to feel the rivalry, not read it, not debate it, feel it, go to a football match. Indonesia versus Malaysia. 90 minutes of national pride packed into every kick, every chant, every heartbeat. The stadiums, electric. The fans, relentless. The tension, unmistakable. It's not just a game, it's a statement. In 2010, the AFF Suzuki Cup final turned into a spectacle of hostility. Lasers pointed at players, online abuse, accusations of sabotage. That match didn't just end with a score, it ended with scars. Every SEA Games meeting since has become a rematch of more than sport, a ritual of rivalry. For the fans, it's not just about winning, it's about proving who belongs on top. And when one anthem gets booed, when one flag is burned or insulted, it's not politics anymore, it's personal. Because football, in this region, is identity. It's pride with a whistle. And when Indonesia plays Malaysia, the whole region watches, not for the goals, but for the fire. Segment 6, Indonesia social media and Gen Z escalation. In the digital age, the rivalry between Indonesia and Malaysia has found a new battleground, social media. Platforms like TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram have become arenas where national pride and cultural identity are fiercely defended. Gen Z, the digital natives of both nations, are at the forefront of this online discourse. In Indonesia, where users spend an average of over 41 hours per month on TikTok, young Indonesians use the platform to showcase their rich cultural heritage. They share videos of traditional dances, culinary arts, and local customs, asserting their identity and challenging any perceived cultural appropriation. Meanwhile, Malaysian Gen Z users respond with their own narratives, highlighting shared histories and cultural overlaps. They emphasize unity and common roots, aiming to bridge divides and foster understanding. However, these exchanges are not always harmonious. Viral videos, memes, and hashtags can quickly escalate tensions, turning cultural discussions into heated debates. The anonymity of the internet often emboldens users to express sentiments they might suppress in face-to-face interactions. Yet, amidst the clashes, there's a silver lining. These digital dialogues, though sometimes contentious, also open avenues for mutual understanding. They provide a platform for both nations to reflect on their shared histories, celebrate their unique cultures, and navigate the complexities of their intertwined identities. Segment 7, Hate or Hunger for Respect. Maybe this isn't hatred, maybe it never was. Maybe what we're hearing, in stadiums, in tweets, in protest chants, isn't anger for the sake of anger, but a cry for recognition. When Indonesians speak out, when they correct, when they confront, they're not always trying to start a fight. They're asking not to be forgotten, not to be treated as less. And Malaysians, most aren't trying to erase anything. Many are just proud of what they were taught, of what they love, of what feels like theirs. But pride without listening becomes blindness, and pain without voice turns into rage. The truth is, both nations carry scars, from colonization, from misrepresentation, from centuries of being told who they are by outsiders. Now they're telling that story themselves. And sometimes, in the noise, it sounds like conflict. But underneath it is a hunger to be respected, to be seen, to matter. Not just as neighbors, but as equals. So now the question is yours. Is this rivalry built on hate? Or is it something deeper? Something older? Something both nations still don't fully understand? If you're Indonesian or Malaysian, I want to hear from you. Have you felt this tension? Or are we just echoing stories from the loudest voices online? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell us where you're from and how you see this relationship. Let's talk, not shout. And if you haven't seen it yet, go watch our last video, Why China Loves Malaysia. Because understanding how outsiders view Malaysia might just change the way you see this story too. This isn't just about flags, it's about identity, and it's time we face the truth together.